You could simply give away your property during your life or outright in a will, where you leave property to somebody and it's out of your hands. It's now theirs. Whatever they do with it is their business. But people set up trusts for a lot of reasons that involve having control. Even when the people are gone, they've maintained a level of control over the assets being gifted to another person, usually to protect the recipient of that gift and maintain their public benefits, whether it's Social Security benefits or Medicaid, or to protect them from themselves. Sometimes a person who has an addiction or a problem with money, they're just not very good with money, they need to be sustained by that trust for a long period of time. So a crucial question comes up. Who's in charge of the money? Who is the trustee? I'm Patrick Cawley. I'm an estate planning and elder law attorney with Keystone Elder Law in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. And this is an issue that comes up every week. And so here are some of the main traits of somebody who you might name to be a trustee of a trust. One, the person should have integrity, so it should be somebody who shares your view of enhancing the quality of life for the person getting this money or property, and so they should have the same view that you do about making the money or property last, looking out for the best interests of the person who's being protected. Number two is they sometimes will have to be the bad guy. They're going to have to say no, and they have to stand firm. So if you have set up a trust, for example, because there's a child who's just terrible with money, blows through money, and comes to the trustee and says, I really need this money, if the trustee sees that it's really not in that person's best interest because of their spending habits, maybe there's an addiction, the trustee has to say no out of compassion for the person, looking out for their best interests. Another quality that they should have is just simply administratively to be good with money and to keep careful records. They don't necessarily have to be financial gurus, but they ought to have the wherewithal to work with a financial advisor or an accountant to make sure that the money in the trust is going to last and serve its purpose. So, one issue that comes up is cost. Sometimes when people hear about a professional trustee, like the trust department of a bank or some other financial institution, they balk at that. But I'll tell you, it's a lot of work. I mean, the trust might have the obligation to file taxes. There's liability if the right decisions aren't made. There's a lot of paperwork just keeping organization in place. And frankly, do you want your family member to have to say to another family member, no, I'm not opening the purse strings so that you can have money? That might put your family member in a tough situation. And even if your family member accepts that responsibility, I would encourage them to take a fee for doing so, just like a corporate trustee would do, because that's a lot of responsibility and potentially a lot of stress. So the cost is going to be there any way you look at it as far as the administrative maintenance of a trust. One thing I would encourage you not to do is to think, well, I have to name my one child to be the trustee of this trust for another child simply because I don't want them to feel left out. I don't want them to feel like I don't trust them. That's not a good reason to name somebody as the trustee of a trust. This is a technical position. It comes with very technical responsibilities, and you need somebody who can be up to the challenge and be able to stand firm and say no when necessary. But all of this really comes down to what's the point of the trust? Is it a special need, a disability type of trust? Is it a nursing home situation where your spouse, after you pass away, is on Medicaid and you're protecting assets against Medicaid? The situation will be different depending on the type of trust. If you have questions about this, please email me info at KeystoneElderLaw.com. My name is Patrick Cawley. I'd love to meet with you and talk about your particular circumstances so that you can set up a trust and achieve the goals that you have.